Hello and welcome to part 2 of our conversation with Gavin Zuchlinski. Today, Gavin tells us how his first interaction with a prospective new employee is often a love letter, and how Acuity found fantastic marketing without paying for it. So keep it right here on the Peak Performers Podcast.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
You have a very unique hiring practice or resume practice or how to find people. Tell us about the love letter.
Yeah, so we are totally remote, like I mentioned, and we hire, first of all, for personality, because when you're working remote, you really have to be able to jive with somebody, and especially when you're working remote and doing customer support, I'm looking for that right personality for the job, somebody who can talk to our customer and clicks with our brand voice and is still easy to communicate with outside of customer support, somebody who you can communicate easily through Slack and on the business side of things, because with all of that, personality, number one thing. So to get to that point, the whole hiring process is geared around personality. So you should definitely check out our job posting. It's completely different than anyone else around there. It's our copywriter did an awesome job with this. So it's framed in the form of a personal letter from the point of view of Acuity, the software, and it goes through just likes, fan of whiskey and Arrested Development and things we dislike, like I'm not a fan of pickles, and all of that's in there, and just the tone of it. So anyway, to get to applications, having a letter like that where a job posting like that where we're trying to attract the right type of personality, it would feel really weird to then go ask for what's your cover letter and resume and everything else. So instead of doing any of that, I don't really even look at resumes. We ask for a love letter. And since most of the company is customer support, and that's the biggest thing that we're hiring for, asking for the love letter gives a great chance for them to show off that they connect with that type of personality, that they have good, clear writing style, that it's not just a rambling bunch of text in there. For me, it provides a great, easy way to skim through applications, because anybody who pastes in their cover letter into the area that says love letter, they're out. If it says starts with Dear Hiring Manager, they're out. The people who write theirs in the form of a personal ad back or talk about how they love long walks on the beach, those are the people that I'll actually read. So it's a great way to weed out people, and it's an awesome way to find that right personality that jives with our company.
I love that. So have you hired anyone that hates coffee?
Oh, man, unfortunately, not everybody likes caffeine, and not everybody will drink whiskey either. So
all right. I know you're a big espresso lover.
I know, and lately I started roasting my own beans too, so it's brought it to a new level. It's fun.
But you're accepting of tea drinkers or, people that don't drink coffee or espresso.
Yeah. You got to have some good qualities in there besides just coffee drinking too.
All right. You may not understand them. You don't know why. They're kind of a weird nut, but you will hire them if they're good on the customer service side.
I definitely will.
All right. Excellent. Who's holding you accountable? Many will answer, myself. Well, that only goes so far. You'll do more for others than you'll do for yourself. If you're not getting the results that you want, need, and desire, it comes down to your accountability. If you're ready to stop dabbling and really play full out, head on over to thorconklin.com and under services, check out our real accountability system. This is not for the timid or weak of heart. This is only for those individuals that are truly committed to taking their game to the next level. Bring us back as you're starting this company. This was it didn't sound like it was the first company. The first one, you kind of had a company, and then this was kind of an add-on to it. Is that correct?
Yes. So, there's all sorts of things intermingled in here. It's a pretty backwater family tree going on. But I had a web development company that I had and I did for a while and did that full time. And then Acuity was sort of like an add-on to that, trying to get leads for that. But I left that. I did a startup with the government with somebody else, and then left to go work directly for the government, and eventually killed off the web development side whenever the appointment scheduling started going on. So yeah, it was not my first one, but also I didn't have a whole lot of experience with business by the point that I started Acuity. Most of it was picked up along the way.
So tell us some of the failures with Acuity and then some of the successes, and just mix them in as best you can. What really worked and what didn't work?
Ooh, good question. So probably one of the things that I messed up on originally was, well, when it did start to grow, I definitely hired too late. By the time I hired, the first person that I hired was, again, customer support, because that's one of the biggest areas that was taking up most of my time. But I still hadn't left my day job. My day job with the government, I didn't have access to phone or internet during the day. So the person that I hired to do customer support was just left hanging for 8-9 hours a day without any way to contact me. So there were a couple of times when it was in the summertime that I hired them. It was like a good 100 degrees out. I would come back to my car. My iPhone would be in my car, and it would be, overheated, so I wouldn't be able to turn it on. And then halfway through my 45-minute commute home, I would finally be able to touch the scalding hot iPhone and turn it on to a point where it had cooled down, only to find out that like Acuity had been down for 2 hours. And I had no idea. And the person wasn't trained well to be able to deal with that because I wasn't around for the day. So, man, I screwed up there. I should have left my job a little bit sooner. I probably should have given them more training, and I should have been around the day for them too. But I was trying desperately to try to balance the two and trying to hang on to my day job, which I really loved. And that part just didn't work out.
And probably turning off the sign-up sheet probably hurt sales a little bit too.
Yeah, it did. Like, if I hadn't turned that on, it's a funny thing too, because if I hadn't turned that off, I might have left my job sooner, which would be an interesting thing. But I don't know. I think I like the experience. I think one of the things that I did well was growing it slowly, though, and not just... I see too many people, and we're interviewing right now for a developer position, and I'm talking to a few developers who tried their hand at doing a company and just totally bombed out. And I don't know, they just quit their jobs and went straight into the company without even trying to develop the product. And honestly, one of the hardest parts isn't actually doing the work. It's trying to figure out what the right things are to do, because it's way too easy to waste your time on things that don't matter to your customer or your business. So by taking it a little bit slower and working on it for a couple hours every day, maybe 10 hours a week, I was able to work very efficiently on things. So that way, when I got into the job, I had been thinking about what I wanted to do for a while. I'm a technical guy by nature, so I was able to get right down to business and work on things really efficiently, and also listen to a lot of customer feedback so that nearly everything that we worked on was helpful to customers. And it wasn't just like a little pipe dream, something that I had come up with on my own that really nobody gave a shit about at all.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because, we tend as entrepreneurs to think that everyone's going to think like us, and we've got the best ideas. And we design our product or a service to meet our needs, only to find out that our customers go, yeah, that's kind of cool, but I really need this. And it takes time. I tell this all the time to new entrepreneurs. They think that all they do is just get a web address, put up the sign, put up the website, and then all of a sudden the business starts flowing in. It doesn't work that way. It takes time. Every single day, just moving. And then one day, it just starts to get a little bit of traction, a little bit more. It's such a valuable lesson.
Oh yeah, and especially if you're to the point where you have to work to acquire every sign up, I don't know, I don't feel comfortable with that. But where you get to the point where each sign up that you get, each person that's using your business, your software is referring other people. So now every time you acquire one person, you're acquiring more than one. That feels really good to me, and I think that we were already to that point when I had left my day job. If I had left I don't know, 2009, 2010. I don't know that we would have been to that point. And I probably would have gotten frustrated. And by having a whole lot more time on my hands to be able to dedicate to it, I'm not sure that I would have worked on those right things. By the time that I actually left, although it was a challenge being like way underwater with support and with everything else by the time that I left, it meant that every single thing that I did really had to matter, and I had enough fuel and I had enough customer research and everything else to dive into it.
Testament to what you built also. You know, I probably use 25 tools in my business. My CRM, I hate. I mean, literally, we talk about it, it's just like, I hate it. We've got other tools, it's like, it's okay. But when we talk about Acuity, it's like, I really love it. And I'm not a tech guy at all. Not a tech guy at all, but the simplicity, the ease of use, and the customization that I can do all this different stuff. It's like, I really like this. I'm not saying it because I got you. Believe me, if I didn't like it, I'd tell you, even on the show, it's like, could you change this piece? I don't really like this. But I think it's unusual for a piece of technology that people really, really like it. And I interviewed someone, about month and a half ago, and we were exchanging, getting our calendars together. I sent the invite through Acuity. It's like, oh, you use Acuity also? I'm like, I really love this stuff. She goes, I do too. And there's a certain kind of, I don't know, cult thing happening out there. I don't know why people are so crazy about scheduling software, but you've done a very good job.
That's awesome. I love it. I'm so happy to hear that type of thing. And really, it's kind of funny when you're talking about things that I messed up. Probably one of the things that I didn't do right at the very beginning was I didn't focus on any specific vertical. Although I built it for my mom, it was never built just for massage therapists or anything. I totally underestimated the size of the market. So I was like, man, I better just make it as generic as possible. So in the end, I'm really happy that I did that now, but at the time, I probably could have done it a little bit better if I had focused on one specific customer, because at that point, if you had signed up in 2008, it wouldn't have clicked like it did now. It has taken a lot of iteration and, like I keep saying, just continual improvement to try to get to the point where it has all of the things to customize for your business. Because before, if you had signed up, you'd be like, man, this is good, but it doesn't like quite work for my business. Maybe it'd be good for somebody else. But now what we end up seeing is people sign up and say like, man, I'm really glad you built this software for therapists. And I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah. And then somebody else will be like, man, I'm really glad that you built this software for life coaches, or I'm really glad that you built this software for consultants. And it's starting to click with all of these different verticals just because of the amount of customization and everything. But to do that type of thing required a ton of research to find the commonalities between all different verticals and types of users to get to that point, which back at the beginning, it was a lot tougher to try to get it to click for an individual business.
How did you start getting some of your traction? Was it Google AdWords? Was it Facebook ads? How did you start? You had the product, now you had to market it. What were some of your wins on the marketing side?
Yeah, so I'm an incredibly cheap guy when it comes to that. I did not want to spend money at all. So what originally I did was, so very first thing was I focused on search engine optimization. So first day after I had gotten it out and the sign up form is on there, which is really just a cheap PayPal link that brings you over and sets up a subscription while you sign up for an account. I just put it online and submitted to all the search engines and then tried to tailor the keywords to get people, and that's what got the first users. For the next round of users, again, I didn't want to pay for anything, so instead of doing that, tried my best to get as many links to the site as possible, and then noticed that blogs were a great one. I tried it originally to do things like submit to tech writers and get some press at the big places, and nobody would listen to me. still have a hard time doing that. Nobody really listens. But smaller blogs were amazing because they would listen to me. They would be talking directly with me. I would normally try to tailor a pitch and be like, hey, I saw you write about such and such tool. You should check out Acuity Scheduling. We try to make appointment scheduling super easy, blah, blah, blah. And then they would end up writing about it, and although it was a really small audience, it would get backlinks to the site, which again would help our search engine rankings, and it would connect a lot more with their audience too, so we had a really good return on that. And then we didn't do that much with marketing over time. The biggest thing has been improving the product to help with referrals. Right now, probably about 85% to 90% of our traffic is organic. So it's either coming from still that original search engine rankings where we rank, you search for appointment scheduler, appointment scheduling software, and we're in the top 3 results. Or it's coming from people who are saying, like, just like you say, like, hey, you should check out Acuity Scheduling. We sort of piggybacked on that by adding an affiliate program so you can have your affiliate link come over. And that one has been good, but it's really been by having a product that people want to recommend that has helped it take off. And then the other little secret one, too, that has been really good is at the bottom of your scheduling page, and a really tiny link will say powered by Acuity Scheduling. We still get quite a few users from that. We try to make it as invisible as possible so that it's not like we're showing off our brand, but for the people who go to your scheduling page and say, like, man, I really like this. How can I get something like that? That's where that comes into play.
Thank you so much for listening today. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you found today's show valuable. If you would like to receive these shows automatically to your phone or to your computer, simply go to iTunes and subscribe. After listening to several of the shows, if you're so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating, as this helps us reach additional people and spread the message. If you're truly committed to taking your life to the next level and doing whatever it takes to become a peak performer, but something's holding you back, something is blocking your way, and you just can't seem to figure out what it is, send me an email to info@thorconklin.com, and I'd be more than happy to get on the phone with you. We'll schedule a 15-minute discovery call. No obligation, no cost. I absolutely love to hear from the listeners, and if there's something I can do to help, I'd be more than happy to do that. Also, if you found something of great interest in today's show and you want to share that with your friends and family, simply go to my Facebook page, Thor Conklin. Click on the episode, hit the share button, and share it on your page. You can follow me at Twitter @ThorConklin. The website is thorconklin.com. We're constantly adding new free resources, discussing additional tricks, tips, tools, and strategies on how to be a peak performer. Remember, I try to keep these episodes short so you can listen to them during dot time, doing other things, commuting, driving, walking, working out. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. And until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.
That brings us to the end of another episode of the Peak Performers Podcast. Be on the lookout for part 3 with Gavin Zuchlinski, where he'll tell us all about the best practices for managing a remote team and what's next for Acuity. Juicy information, I say, on the Peak Performers Podcast. We'll see you at the top.